WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca.
Fantastic racing.
There's a tussle out there today.
It's dusty and slippery.
It's the corkscrew, man.
Dropping down, it's like a mine shaft.
Laguna Seca is a classic.
One of the greatest spectacles in motorsport.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it is that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Picture perfect here in California.
WeatherTech Raceway means home.
One of the world's most challenging racetracks.
Fun, flowing.
80 feet of total elevation change.
Now the game faces are on.
3 wide there. He starts to dirt track it.
Always searching for traction.
Corkscrew creates fantastic racing.
Here it is!
Where I did my pass in 2017, it changed my life.
Side-by-side action.
You gotta really play smart so that you can be fast.
One of the greatest spectacles in motorsport.
each good thing must eventually end, and each season must crown a champion. And after 8 races, a full 8 hours of racing from Virginia to California and all in between, the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League looks to do just that 3 times over. Each class leader comes in with a large advantage, but Hunter Reeve isn't out of the woods just yet. While the early half of the season felt like Pappenhaus's to lose, Reeve has gotten it back to his winning ways and narrowed the gap, even taking a nearly dozen-point lead after Charlotte, widening it to a full 16 points ahead of this evening. Stay tuned for the 8th hour of the final chapter, the season finale here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, that will determine 3 class champions in this final edition of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League presented by RECARO. Welcome, race fans, to Pit Stop TV. As usual, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter tonight. JP Costa and Emerson Arden are with me in the booth. Trey Shuttlesworth is on social media coverage. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is Pit Stop TV's live coverage of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League presented by RECARO. We join you tonight from the virtual Monterey, California for round 8 of 8 on the season. Every race that's led up to this point, ladies and gentlemen, finally comes to its culmination here at Laguna Seca. It is one heck of a racetrack, and I cannot wait to cover this with you guys.
And obviously, as we wind down to the finale of the season, the finale of a series, obviously a fantastic season that we had, exciting races. Every single race was pretty much was a banger. Every single race was really exciting, and I'm just expecting the same at Laguna Seca. This track, even though it doesn't offer a lot of overtaking opportunities, if you don't count mistakes from other people, it's still a very exciting racetrack with lots of elevation changes. Some unforgiving corners, just like the corkscrew, and some unforgiving curves that might damage the Miatas with the new damage model. Obviously, we do have the championship finale with the beneficiary championship still up for grabs for some drivers, and I'm sure every single driver is going to be giving their absolute best to make sure they try to clinch the championship in the best possible position at the end of the series.
Yeah, this series has honestly been a blast. It's been something I've kind of held truly to my heart the past couple months we've been doing this, because the message behind the series, and of course what Operation Motorsports does in real life, and just this Operation eMotorsport series that they've done here on iRacing has always been a blast. Of course, the message is one thing, but the racing in itself is amazing across the different classes, a caliber of drivers of all sorts, and it's just been very, very fun, these 7 races we've done so far, and I highly doubt that this 8th race will be any different.
Well, hey, we've got 7 races in the books. That means we've had 7 guest interviews so far this season. We've got 1 more up ahead. Well, actually, it looks like we're going to have to pause on that one for just a moment. It looks like we're having a bit of a connection issue getting our guest interview in here this evening. So let's fast forward a little bit here, guys, and let's talk about our point standings situation going into this evening. You see here the point standings graphic after 7 of 8 races. Chris Welsh, well, I think he's in a little bit of trouble here, guys. He's got 216 points back to David Levine and 234 even to Daniel Morad. But if you look back to our beneficiary battle, that's where the point standings really get interesting. That's where the championship is up for grabs. Everything else is decided down in the open division. While some positions could still change, I think, especially 4th and 5th in that series, granted they're not pictured here, points in between, standings in between, those may change, but really everything in pro, everything in open, very much decided, especially as far as the winner goes. We're really looking forward to Hunter Reeve and Adam Pappenhaus as our one big points battle on the evening, and even so, it's a separation of a massive, massive gap of 16 points, JP.
Yeah, exactly. It's really close. It looks promising for Hunter, but as I was just looking at practice, he did not set any lap time, and Adam Pappenhaus has been setting over 25 laps. So Adam definitely trying to put the times in. He's the fastest beneficiary in practice right now, so definitely trying to put a little bit of pressure, I guess, on Hunter. But that's closer than ever. And as you mentioned, obviously the battle pretty much for pro and for open is settled pretty much, but I guess Chris and Dustin are both going to be battling hard on track to try to get the 7th class win. Both of them are actually going to get it, but I guess they want the bragging rights on the racetrack.
Yeah, of course, the championships are still at large, and as JP was saying, there's still races to win. Of course, class wins to go for. Poppenhaus, he needs a lot. He needs, I think JP was saying before the race, he needs to finish 3rd or better. And that's going to be a mountain in itself with just the level of talent in this field. And then he's going to need some help with Hunter Reeve being towards the bottom of the running order when this is all said and done. So a lot to happen for Adam Poppenhaus to get this one out. But in racing, anything can happen.
And of course, we talk about these guys racing for a championship, but it's for more than just that. Of course, it's for bragging rights, but also these guys actually get some rewards from, presented by RECARO, from Operation eMotorsport and RECARO, and everybody else that's putting their hard work into this iRacing League in the season. Here we've got the renderings of each trophy going out to the top 3 in the beneficiary and open categories. So honestly, some pretty good looking trophies that we get to give out to these guys. We're going to have a virtual presentation of the top 3 receiving their trophies, of course, virtually. They will get physical trophies, I will say that, but it'll be a virtual presentation later this evening after tonight's race. Make sure to stick around for that after our little post-race break that we usually have. That should be a lot of fun to go over and talk about this evening. Get to hear from each and every top 3 finisher in those 2 class categories. Meanwhile, they are getting onto the racetrack and they are qualifying. Our pre-race is a bit different here, guys, because usually we have our guest interview again. We will get to that as soon as we can. Looks like we're having connection issues getting to that portion of tonight's broadcast. But what we do have, without issue, is these guys qualifying on the racetrack. Qualifying did just start as of about 3 minutes ago, so we still have 12 and a half minutes or so left in this one. Nobody's turned a time yet. Actually, no, my bad. We have 3 times that have been turned. Callum Belding currently the fastest of those.
Yeah, exactly, and this is definitely going to be the most important qualifying of the season, obviously, with all those positions pretty much to still figure it out. And obviously, I guess this is the most important for Adam Poppenhaus, is the most important for Hunter Reeve as well. And Adam definitely has to put in a lap time. He's currently 3rd, obviously at 148. That's a long shot away from the 141s that they were posted in practice. But, definitely the pressure is on for these drivers that do have to chase someone above them on the championship standings. And, in a track like this where it's difficult to overtake if you don't make a mistake, if the car ahead of you doesn't make a mistake, it's definitely the pressure on those 15 minutes, these essential 15 minutes, trying to get the tires warmed up quickly and not wear them down too much so you can get a good, fast qualifying lap.
Yeah, in my experience here at Laguna Seca, man, I mean, it's been hard for me to come to grips with this track as it is, but I find the hardest thing is to keep this car in between the white lines in qualifying and not go wide, especially in the first sector of corners. It is so easy to go wide, and that can easily hurt your lap, because I already see a couple drivers going wide on their lap. So if you take an X, your lap is then deleted, so you have to go for it again, and it's tough, to be fast but not too fast to where you get your lap time deleted. It's a huge balance that you have to make when setting qualifying laps at Laguna Seca.
It absolutely is a balance there, Emerson. And speaking of how tough this track is and keeping it between white lines, how about keeping it between those 2 black lines that designate the outside of the course here on our track map presented by RECARO Mobile One and RECARO? You see these 11 turns, really I guess you could say 12, that these drivers have to navigate this evening. Turn 1, kind of just that bend towards turn 2, that hairpin to start off your lap. A couple of right-handers for 3 and 4, then you go down to turn 5. I actually don't know the corner names here, I will admit. I know them by corner numbers personally. But I know you head up to the corkscrew. Everybody knows the corkscrew here at Laguna Seca. Turns 8 and 8A. We saw Theo Brolsma go through those a minute ago. And let's also talk about the amazing run that Theo has had recently. He has really been up to something in that number 24 car. He hasn't always, I think, come to the proper result that he deserves. But this 24 has been looking better and better as the season has gone on. And I look forward to seeing what he can do this evening as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at the championship results essentially since race 1, and the number 24 was the one struggling, I guess. He was always finishing a bit further back, and I guess he would have wanted to. But obviously, the last week was pretty much redemption week for him, and I was so happy to see him, you know, taking that class win, all that sort of stuff, and hopefully he can bounce back. He had a great time on practice, just last 27 thousandths in difference to the fastest beneficiary on his class essentially, and well, hopefully he can put another great result. You know, he looks really confident with the car right now. Obviously, he just came from a win, so his confidence boost is, you know, at the maximum level. And obviously, as the last race of the season, he has nothing to lose. He has pretty much nothing to gain, but nothing to lose as well. So might as well go full beans into it and trying to take another class win.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for Brolsema that it came to be a little too late in the season for him to really have a say in the title hunt. But nonetheless, it's been very remarkable what he's been able to do. And like you said, he's been one of the fastest beneficiaries in these past few weeks. Looking at the qualifying charts, Poppenhaus just went there, but it was Callum Belden for a second there, and that was also a good surprise last week. Belden was up there, I think, in the top 10. He was in the middle of the pack and really getting up there in the beneficiary class. And so that'll be someone to watch to see if he can play any spoiler tonight in that class.
Yeah, and it's going to take a lot of spoiling here for Adam Poppenhaus to take this championship back away from Hunter Reeve. I mentioned top of the show that earlier on in this season, it really felt like Poppenhaus's championship to lose, and it looked like the number 12 was a lock for winning this thing. But really, he didn't even have the race wins necessarily to boot. He only has 2 compared to Hunter's 5, which is crazy to think about. It only seems like recently that Hunter has really gotten so quick, but Hunter really has had this season just quietly in control, it feels like. And Adam, while it felt like Adam was there, I think Adam was just taking advantage of Hunter's mistakes. That said, Adam Poppenhaus, as you mentioned, Emerson, the fastest beneficiary on track this evening. He's ahead of John Winker and Callum Belden for that top spot currently in qualifying. 7 minutes to go. Sean Knight, a newcomer, made his first start last week. He's currently top of the speed charts as we're still waiting on our 2 pros to take to the racetrack, see if they can once again best the open drivers. Actually, no, one of them's already on the racetrack, and he is 11th spot. David Levine, not quite the pace that we might have expected from a pro driver. It looks like he missed out on a lot of practice coming in here in qualifying, trying to even up with these guys as yet another another open driver goes faster, and there it is. Chris Walsh up to the top spot.
I guess we're back to norm again. Chris Walsh currently on provisional pole position, obviously, but the times are really close. He's only 0.2 of a second quicker than Sean Knight, and obviously he may have gotten held up on his lap. We might not know. He may have got overheated on his tires and he just took a cool down lap. But definitely, you know, it's great to see Sean putting the pressure against Chris and Dusty, because those two were the only ones that we kind of expected to be up there. And obviously having a third driver fighting for the overall win, I guess, and overall pole position as well, is really nice to see for the championship. Unfortunately, it's on the last race, but I guess it's better late than ever.
Yeah, I'm just talking one more time about the beneficiary class. I've been watching Hunter Reeve carefully. He didn't set any lap time in practice, and he was here for a bit. So I think he's just trying to fly under the radar. He didn't go that high, or he set the slowest time by about 8 seconds on the board his first lap round, and now he's in the 14th overall. I'm not entirely sure what the true pace of Hunter Reeve is tonight. He may be hiding some of it, or, you know, just taking it easy, as the main goal for Hunter Reeve is to just finish the race and he'll lock up that title, because I really don't know where that 46 is going to end up.
Yeah, very interesting here that Hunter Reeve is a little bit off pace so far in this evening, but he's still got plenty of time, including an hour of racing when it all counts, to get this thing figured out and come to a decent result for his final race of this, well, everybody's final race of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing season. We thank you all for joining us so far this evening, and again, make sure to stick around, A, for the hour of racing we have coming up, and B, our little post-race show where we will present virtually some trophies to each of the top 3 in our open and beneficiary categories. And don't forget as well to tune in on November the 8th. It's a Sunday, and you'll be able to watch along with us as we call 6 hours of Operation eMotorsport iRacing League competition. It's a non-points event, but it is, I think it makes a great point in the world of eMotorsport, if you will, and it is the iRace of Remembrance. Usually these guys have the Race of Remembrance at Anglesey Circuit in Wales, and I think just by saying Race of Remembrance, the point kind of strikes home, especially being this time of year with Veterans Day, Armistice Day coming up. It's going to be, I think, one of the most important broadcasts we've ever had here on Pit Stop TV. I am looking so forward to that opportunity to get to present 6 hours of racing. It's our first endurance race. It's I think, one of our most important broadcasts ever, if not the most important broadcast we've ever had. Maybe we will ever have. I definitely look forward to it. All of you watching at home should as well. We're going to get to see these guys go toe-to-toe and team up in some cases as well. We're going to see some new entries that decided to come in and run some Porsche 718s and BMW M4s for 6 hours at Sebring International Raceway, since we don't have Anglesey here on iRacing.com. It's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to hopefully having some of you guys here in the booth with me as well. If you didn't catch earlier, we've got Emerson Arden and JP Costa on the mic with me this evening. We've got Trey Shuttlesworth on social media. We plan to bring in plenty. We plan to bring out the big guns for that one, as many people as we can. I think for that, that's going to be a really special, a really fun broadcast, and I look forward to that. So make sure you tune in to Pit Stop TV on November the 8th. We'll have a whole lot more details coming soon, and you can find some of those details as well as they're released on the Operation Motorsport social channels, Facebook and Twitch, I think primarily, but also operationmotorsport.org. You can find out a ton of information, both about the iRace of Remembrance and just this league and anything that Operation Motorsport does. Make sure to check all of it out. We're coming down to the last 2.5 minutes here, JP, of our qualifying session. I don't think there's any touch in that 28 car.
Yeah, exactly. Chris at the moment looks unbeatable. Sean and Dustin are going to have to pull something out of their hats in order to trying to beat Chris to pole. Obviously last week he was just dominant, and well, the times are really close. Obviously Dustin actually surprising half a second slower than Chris. I don't think we've ever seen that since he's up in performance since Road Atlanta. But you know, looking back at the beneficiary class, we do have Hunter Reeve as technically the pole position of his class, so coming out of nowhere, already putting the best lap time for his class, albeit only half a tenth quicker than Adam Poppenhaus, but crucially, he already has one car in between them two, so obviously that's going to play a major factor that could help him out just to secure. Obviously, if he just outscores Adam, he's pretty much the champion, and well, Adam's definitely going to have to pull something out of his hat as well in the race.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Sean Knight, because as we mentioned, this is only his second race on the season. Of course, there's only 8 races, but he made his first start last Tuesday at Canadian Tire, and we didn't see too much out of him. We didn't really know what to expect, so there weren't really any standards for him to meet. But here, already qualifying second is huge, and I'm excited to see what he can do starting alongside Chris Walsh.
Yeah, certainly a great performance so far through our 15-minute qualifying session. We'll see if he maybe even goes faster right here as he crosses the stripe. Does he chip away at or even overlap the 28? No, it looks like he will not do so. So despite having some pace there in the number 10 car, Sean Knight, not quite enough there to get up to the number 28 here in qualifying. While these guys wrap up their on-track festivities, let's look at the weather conditions that they have to battle with. Actually, a very nice day for Northern California, right at 68.5 degrees. I think that's very comfortable, actually, especially for October. I'm sure there's plenty of people right now that we're getting some early snowfall somehow before Halloween in a lot more places than I would have thought. So I think a lot of people would love almost 70 degrees right now. Track temp right around 89, almost 90 degrees, so really not all that warm. These guys, I'm sure, will slide around just because they're in Miatas, but not too aggressively, anything like that. We'll still see, I think, the tires kind of start to go towards the back end of this race. Relatively calm winds, I think, especially for Monterey, California. Only 7 miles an hour out of the north, and It says Salinas, California, Monterey. Either one works as we get ready for 60 minutes of competition once more for the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League presented by RECARO.
And as the clock pretty much runs down, we already have pretty much our grid. I don't think there's a lot of other drivers left on the racetrack finishing up laps at least. Looks like Dustin Burkhalter will actually drop down to P4, so that is actually really surprising. Wouldn't call lack of pace, it just doesn't seem to be getting the grips with the track. Obviously we do have a few blind corners, and obviously the dirt on the outside is pretty much grabby, so you can lose a lot of time. But you know, surprising, we have a lot of surprising results tonight.
Yeah, a lot of shakeups up and down the qualifying order. Be interesting to see how this all shakes up on the race results. Is it only short run speed, and who can really put together an entire hour's length race?
So as qualifying runs out, these guys, of course, they get a little bit of extra time here at the end of their 15 minutes. iRacing gives them an extra minute and a half or so just to facilitate any laps they might have started right at the end of the session. So that's what we see right now. Here's John Winker out of turn 11, headed down the front stretch, see what he can do, if he can possibly upgrade his time. He could pass Adam Poppenhaus, actually, for a position in class right here. We'll see how his last lap does. Looks like he's not going to do so. He's going to stay P11 right now, and I don't see anyone else on the racetrack at the current point in time. So it's really just a matter of watching that beneficiary battle between Hunter Reeve and Adam Poppenhaus. It's going to take a lot for Poppenhaus to get that jump, and enough of a jump to take the championship away, but as you said, Emerson, anything can still happen. We still have 19 cars here, so there's the potential that Adam could walk away with the championship. It's going to be tough, though.
Yeah, exactly. As we've seen on racing, you know, even on the 24-hour Le Mans, the race is only over when it's over, you know. Something may happen on the race with Hunter, something may happen with the top 7. We're not really sure, but, you know, anything can happen. It's racing. That's why we love it. That's why we watch it. And, you know, hopefully, I don't want to wish bad luck on anyone on this race as well, but you know, it will be interesting to see if something crazy happens in order to help some of these guys maybe increase their chance of a championship.
So I mentioned that we usually would have had our guest interview by now, and that's absolutely right. If you've watched any of our broadcasts here at the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League, you'd know that we're kind of missing that part so far. We were going to have Nicole McElroy from RECARO, and unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be able to get her. If we do get her here mid-race, post-race, we will go ahead and talk to her, but unfortunately, it looks like she's headed out to Moab. Connection issues definitely plaguing that. Just want to remind everybody that RECARO is a massive partner, of course, of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League. And whether it's on the track or iRacing, RECARO Automotive is all about making driving feel safer, more comfortable, and more controlled. A driving experience that you can truly feel. Let's go ahead and walk down our starting grid this evening. Up on your front row, of course, you got Chris Walsh. He's been there, I think, just about every single race, if not in every single race. Sean Knight joins him in second place. Roll back to row number 2. It's Chris Bailey and Dustin Burkhalter. Christopher Bailey actually could be a great option to steal this race win. He got the open win at Road America, the second race of the season. Watch out for that number 16 car. Burkhalter joins him in the 4th spot. In 5th, it's Thomas Outzen, I believe also another brand new name to the series. Rick Hazlitt in 6th. Roll back to row 4. It's Brian Burkhart and Hunter Reeve, one of our championship contenders there in the beneficiary category. Roll back to the row behind that. In row number 5, it is Joe Keats in the 243, and the other hand in that bag, it's Adam Poppenhaus battling for the beneficiary title.
Starting off in P11, we do have John Winker. Alongside him, the number 14 of Callum Bellin in an all-beneficiary row. P13, we do look at Brock Hogan and David Levine, a pro driver, and unfortunately starting in P14, so not the greatest qualifying, but definitely a driver to look out for. P15, we do have Theo Brosum. Alongside him, Tim Bernard in 16th place. Jay Gleason and Mark Ray runs off P17 and P18, and starting on that last place, we do have Brian Winker, but definitely know a few of these drivers are definitely going to have to put something special in the race.
Green flag, green flag.
As the field comes off at turn number 11, we are green from Laguna, Seca, and look at them, 3 wide up the hill. It's going to be tight as they come through the kink of turn 1. Oh, somebody off the track a little bit. They find their way back on, but as we head down to the hairpin, watch out for this. This is going to be tight.
An incredible start, and that's the short pace lap that played into that. I think these guys had to really get into things right there. They gritted up at the bottom of the hill and they went green immediately. Chris Walsh was in all of that, 2 and 3 wide into turn 1. They get things figured out. Sean Knight, Rick Hazlitt, Christopher Bailey, and more battling here for second on back. A lot of open drivers filling up the front running. As the first beneficiary on the racetrack is Hunter Reeve. He's battling with Brian Burkhart down to turn 5. We'll see how this all works out for these gentlemen as they tear down into turn 5.
Looks like Hunter Reeve got the position done on the inside of the very fast kink and got that position done. He's already ahead of Brian Burkhart and is definitely going to be challenged. Dustin Burkhalter actually got a terrible start, already dropping behind Joe Keens. And as we look towards in the front, just as you said, Andrew, on the start, Christopher Bailey jumped from 3rd all the way to 2nd, battling for 1st down into turn 1, but unfortunately couldn't get it done on the outside. But he's already piling the pressure on Chris Walsh as they head down into the corkscrew.
They came through the corkscrew, now we head through 9 on the way down to 10, and Chris Walsh is really letting her rip on the exit, letting that number 28 hang out, trying to get all the advantage he can. He is feeling the pressure of the number 16 of Christopher Bailey. Everybody snicks their way down to turn number 11, and they'll complete the first lap here at Laguna Seca. We still have 58
Sean
minutes.
Knight.
Oh, big moment for somebody off of turn 11.
That was Sean Knight almost into the inside wall, Emerson, and I don't know how he caught that thing and kept it out of that retaining wall. That was very scary for the number 10. He keeps into it, though, and he is going to end up 4th after that bit of a slide out of that corner. These guys all getting things figured out. Looks like everybody, for the most part, single file through most of the field. A few battles here and there, all the way through the top 10, 12, 11, everybody sorting out for the most part. They do get kind of racy back here around, it looks like, the 12th spot. David Levine leading John Winker in a battle. Adam Poppenhouse is stuck back here. Brock Hogan, Tim Bernard as well.
Yeah, David Levine actually got a pretty good move down into turn 1. I'm pretty sure that was, no, he got the move down on Adam Poppenhouse, actually having a disaster of the start of the race. As you can see now, being pressured by Brock Hogan. Is he going to look down the inside? He does, but unfortunately backs out to avoid contact as they head up into turn 5, and as they head into the blind left-hander at that. This is going to be a corner where these drivers are going to have to be careful, obviously, as fast as you can go, but if you hit that curb on the inside, that can cause major damage to these Miatas. As you can see there, John Winker up ahead, piling the pressure on our pro driver, Dave Levine. David's going to defend down the inside. He's going to get the car slowed down, and he does, and keeps that position for now. As you look further back, Brock Hogan again, piling the pressure on Adam Poppenhouse, who actually is now down into P13 behind 3 beneficiaries and Hunter Reeve, essentially. So a disaster of a start. Luckily for him, he still has over an hour to claw back, but as you can see right now, he's going down the inside of John Winker as they head into the final corner. Is he gonna get the move done? He does on the inside, squeezes John Winker out and gets the move done.
John Winker put his right sides in the dirt there for Adam Poppenhouse, which I think goes to show how aggressive these drivers are going to race the championship contenders tonight. I was wondering about that. How aggressive are they going to be ran? I saw the 58 really pile on the pressure on Poppenhouse, but Poppenhouse is now clear of Brock Hogan and now John Winker. Winker still obviously trying to get the spot. It still is a race, but he's going to give him plenty of room if he can.
Chris Walsh, of course, leads this thing. He's headed down to turn 5 for the 3rd time so far. Christopher Bailey, you saw him momentarily go purple there on that lap, and then Thomas Outzen quickly beat him, and they race for 3rd and 4th back here. Sean Knight is in this, and then we go side by side with Rick Hazlitt and Dustin Burkhalter down to turn 6. That's an interesting place to try a pass. If you cut that corner a bit too much, it's Burkhalter way into the gravel. He hangs on to it. How about that for some dirt track racing? We had some of that last night, and well, he's not wanting to disappoint. He wants to continue the dirt trend, I suppose, but you can easily hit that turtle on the inside of turn number 6, pop that with your left front, and really do some damage to your race car. So you've got to be careful making passes in turn 6.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do make pass on turn 6, you really got to get the car slowed down. Otherwise, the same thing that happened to Dustin Burkhalter will happen to you, as Dustin is right now looking down the outside, or was looking down the outside, because Rick Hazlitt completely shut that door closed. Unfortunately, looks like he got a bit loose on the X, and that's going to allow Dustin to settle back on the slipstream and trying to line up a move down into turn 1. Obviously, you do want to be on the inside to make any move possible. As you can see, now Dustin is on the outside. Is he gonna outbrake Rick Hazlitt? He does, and looks like he made a move around the outside, who just made me eat my words, and gets the move done. Now it's back to business for him. He has to chase Sean Knight, and has to. Oh, Thomas Outson looks like made a move as well for P2. No, I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. Thomas Outson is actually getting pressure from Sean Knight, who actually went wide and lost a bit of contact.
Yeah, this battle for third is really heating up here as we're on board of Hunter Reeve here. He's trying to get around Joe Keens. We've been watching this on your screen for the past past half lap or so, but here comes Reeve with the run out of 5. He's going to try to use the toe up the hill to turn 6, try to see if we can set him up for the corkscrew. And I don't know what it is about Laguna Seca for me. I mean, it is a tough track in general, but it tends to be the 90-degree corners that does it for me, and I think that's what caught out Dustin Burkhalter. They're not heavy braking zones, but they're no easy corner as well. They're tricky. They're deceiving those 90-degree corners. And whoa, off the track is Keens, and around he goes.
A big spin here at the base of the corkscrew. This is going to be tough for him to get turned around. Let's see if he can do so without tagging anyone here. He actually had a window right there to get whipped around. Now he's going to finally get that car nose in the right direction. A big mistake there for Joe Keens. You mentioned that it seems to be the 90-degree less than rates here at Laguna Seca, and we were talking pre-race about this racetrack and why it ends up being so good. I think it follows the American road course thinking of drastic elevation changes, as Trey Shuttlesworth put it, and I think that's the biggest thing, is even into the corners, just various corners. I think turns 5 and 6 stand out to me as Thomas Outson gets passed by Sean Knight there for third. 5 and 6 stand out to me as kind of bowl corners where there's a bit of camber, much like I call it NASCAR. I forget the actual term for it at the Nordschleife, and I'm trying to think the carousel at Watkins Glen, where you get a little bit of camber in the corner. I think that's what really allows these drivers to honestly go full send, full beans, as JP said a little bit ago, and just dive into corners and make big moves, and it ends up working out because they have some track to lean on.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, having a cambered corner obviously is going to help you turn in the speed that you take mid-corner, and obviously the overall grip, and that's going to allow drivers not only to take more confidence, but also maybe make moves that wouldn't be possible in an off-camber corner, just a standard flat-out corner. But it definitely provides some extra racing for us, and it's definitely extremely exciting. But and just as well elevation changes. This track has a lot of elevation changes that also helps a lot of racing. Allows drivers to, I guess, makes more mistakes and allow them to kind of wheel more of the car as the car gets, the tail gets light over the hills, and the car just kind of bottoms out. So obviously this track, I guess, has pretty much everything out of the driver and the car.
I'm not entirely sure what happened, but Rick Hazlitt went to the top of the scoreboard there on the left-hand side, and he's now in the pit lane. So I have to assume he towed off the racetrack. Not entirely sure what had happened, but the car looks clean. Let's see what happened here.
It was a bit loose there at the apex of turn 6 up the hill. I wonder if something happens in the corkscrew. I think that's most common. He may have just ducked into the pit lane as well, though. We'll see what happens. I would imagine, a money shift. And you know what? That's pretty easy to do right there as well, especially in these Miata zone. Oh, you've got to be careful when parking there at the bottom of the hill, because it just kind of happens so quickly. You can easily run into somebody right there. But that's pretty common when you're trying to slow the car down. Use the engine to stop your race car for corner entry right there. It's easy to pop a motor, and Rick Hazlitt does exactly that. A bit of a money shift. Goes too far down the gears a little bit too quickly, over revs, and, well, that motor's junk. He'll have to go to the pit lane as he did and wait on the toe to finish and get a fast repair, head back out on the racetrack. It looks like he's still waiting on that. We'll let you know when he gets back on the racing surface.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, these cars, you do have to rev match quite a bit in order to get the car slowed down safely. And as you're just looking at the screen, Dustin Burkhalter actually made a pretty bold move around the outside of turn 9 on Thomas Downson. So not looking the best start of, I guess, the start and the end of his season, Thomas, but impressive qualifying session, and he's keeping up with the big names. But Dustin Burkhalter definitely on a comeback charge as he's now lining up a move on Sean Knight. And at the front, I guess it's just usual. Chris Walsh over a 2.8 second lead, just pretty much replicating what we saw last week at Canadian Tire.
Yeah, Burkhalter, I mean, he continues to press every week, and as he has done the entire season, he is, I mean, flying up now to the back bumper of Sean Knight. As we were riding on board with Alds in there, but now he looks to set up Sean Knight. We'll see how long it takes him to set up. We'll come through turn 4, and on down to turn 5. Just trying to use the solution. He peeks to the left side, but I think that's all he's gonna do. He's gonna peek. He's really gonna maybe set up for a more primed passing opportunity, maybe into the corkscrew or into the hairpin on the front straightaway. We'll see how long or how patient Burkhalter is.
Yeah, Burkhalter certainly one of the pleasant surprises of this season, and there have been many as well, but Dustin Burkhalter's just been standout, I think, really especially since Indianapolis, but for most of the latter stages of this season. I think back to Dakota as well, where he was pretty darn good, and just this number 33 has been so good. I think the back probably 5 of the 8 races that I can think of where Dustin's really been a quality driver and has looked almost like he could fit in that pro category, even though he's one of the open entries. And I think, of course, the pro entry requirement is that you have some kind of professional racing experience. I don't know that he has any, obviously, being an open entry, but he's driving like he does. He is a quality racing driver through and through. We're glad to have him here in the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League presented by RECARO. He has been a great driver all season long. I want to mention, of course, we have great sponsors, great partners of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League. We mentioned RECARO earlier, and RECARO Automotive puts people first every time. An ergonomic sitting position means a comfortable position. With perfect seat contours and innovative features that support your body, RECARO Automotive makes driving fun, be it on the road or racetrack. Redcom products help protect lives. Redcom products are installed in the highest levels of government, and some of the most important conversations in the world are held on Redcom equipment. Since day one, Mobil 1 advanced synthetic motor oils have been a part of every Corvette racing win. That tradition continues with the new mid-engine Corvette C8R as these guys race into the second quarter almost here, if you want to liken it to football almost. We are nearing the end of the first 15 minutes of this one here, guys, and the time is just ticking away on our 8-race season. It's so incredible that from VIR, Road America, all the way along the way, I think, to Road Atlanta, there's also a great race, COTA, Indianapolis, Charlotte, Canadian Tire. I think I got the whole schedule there as well. I didn't think I'd be able to get that. We've had some great racing all season long, and to think it all culminates here at Laguna Seca it's a great place to hold a finale. I do wish we had another West Coast stop along the way, but hey, we're still here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and these guys are putting on a great race.
Yeah, exactly. And looking back at VIR, it was my first race that I was commentating, and obviously I do like to think that I came a long way, in terms of confidence. As you can see, Dustin now looking down the inside of Sean Knight, and as they go side by side, pretty much door to door, and Dustin Burkhalter actually gets the move done as Sean is actually going to be holding down the insider. They're going to make contact. They come so close, but Dustin gets the move done down around the outside, and now settles for P3 as he only has one car on his sides at the moment, and that's going to be Christopher Bailey.
Burkhalter commanded that position. He really forced Sean Knight into that spot where pretty much Sean Knight had to give it up to Burkhalter once they were side by side and they came into turn 3. I mean, Burkhalter, he's had the pace, and the car placement that Burkhalter has in this Miata is just exceptional. Burkhalter now on the charge to see if he can get second, and ultimately, could we be looking at a potential overall winner tonight?
he's got quite a ways to do. He's got about 5 seconds up to Chris Walsh. Right now on board with Brian Burkhart as he chases down Hunter Reeve. This is important because this, whoa, that would have been a championship game changer. Championship implications, as Rick Allen would say. That was very close for the 46 machine. Almost got sent around, almost got hit and sent around by Brian Burkhart there late on the brakes into the corkscrew. And it's very rewarding if you can challenge these braking zones, yet also very consequential, I believe it would be, if you make that mistake, and it was exactly that. He had headed down the hill much further back than he was up the hill to Hunter Reeves. So, again, it can definitely pay off if you can challenge that braking zone competently. I don't know if that's the word, but if you can challenge it and make it all work correctly, it pays off, or you can be the one paying if you challenge it a bit too hard. That's exactly what he did into the corkscrew. Now he's falling possibly into the clutches of David Levine behind in the number 259, who has had a great run-of-the-mill recently, joining these guys for the first time in Indianapolis and just tagging along for the back half of the season. He actually got that class win at Charlotte Motor Speedway as well, and that was big for the 259 to make some points up. But last week at Canadian Tire, not so much the same. I think he finished right about where he is this evening in around 8th place. It wasn't the biggest points night overall. Not that he was ever going to catch Chris Walsh, considering he was 4 races behind, but still not quite the race David wanted.
Exactly, and this just shows, you know, a quality racer, I guess. He's just using that braking, pretty much the braking topic that you use. You know, he's on that fine line of pretty much taking advantage of hard and, you know, trustworthy braking, I guess, of his car, and not going over that line, you know, just going wide and sometimes into the dirt. You know, he started in P14, he's already up into 8th and pretty much chasing everybody ahead of him. And, you know, he's just putting that great performance that I guess we kind of do expect from a pro driver. But, you know, even though we do expect it, you know, it's always great to see it. And as you can see, again, the battle for second is heating up as Dustin Burkhalter a few laps ago made a move into P3. Now he's lining up P2 from Christopher Bailey. Is he going to get the move down the inside of turn 1? Is he going to look on the inside? He doesn't. He's braver on the brakes. He's going to send it around the outside. Can he hold it? He backs off a bit, trying to get a better line at the exit of turn 2, and unfortunately he has to settle back for Christopher Bailey. But Christopher is definitely going to be feeling the pressure of having Dustin Burkhalter on his mirrors. As you can see here, just missing the apex a little bit, sliding the rear end of the Miata, but, you know, just corner after corner. As you can see now, he goes wide into the dirt. That's going to be a few incident points for him, but he gets the car saved down. He gets the car back on his trails, and he gets it slowed down to turn 5.
Yeah, I think Burkhalter is obviously faster than Bailey, but Bailey's fast enough in the right section. He's going to pull to the left side. Here comes Burkhalter up the hill into turn 6. Can he hold on? He has preferred contact off track goes Bailey.
And that's why it's so tricky to pass there. Goes side by side into turn 6. Heavy contact for those two. Now the battle for third. Sean Knight wants to go up the inside of Chris Bailey. Chris moves over, says, nope, you're not going by. Didn't like the way that went down. Now he's going to go through the dirt there on the exit of the corkscrew. Chris Bailey cannot be happy with the way that sequence of events just went, and he's got to give some time back after cutting the exit of the corkscrew. He loses third. He loses fourth. He drops into 5th. Terrible trouble there for Chris Bailey, and it's hard to argue really that anyone did anything wrong. It's just a matter of challenging one another into turn 6. I'm not so sure you can do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a one-line corner, but not a single one of them wanted to yield to the other one, and unfortunately the contact just happened. And unfortunately for Christopher Bailey, he dropped all the way down into P5 from starting the lap in 2nd place. That's going to be unfortunate for him, but he showed that he had a pace to be up in 2nd place, so hopefully we can see. Now he gets all out of shape under braking, so unfortunately I guess he's just feeling the extra pressure of those mistakes, but unfortunately he has to keep his composure right now, or trying to get it back to try and challenge again for that podium position. As you can see now, the battle for third is heating up with a nearly 3-car battle.
Yeah, I don't know how much this new damage model affects the handling of those cars with a side-by-side hit like that between another Miata, but it looks like there could be some damage on Christopher Bailey's car, and he's maybe just trying to limp it to a pit stop.
I'll tell you what, we can try and take a look here. It's going to be a little bit loud on this camera for some reason. Well, that's not going to show us, so I guess we'll have to wait a second. But I was going to say we can try and take a look for damage on the 16. As he goes by this camera, really, it doesn't look too bad on the left side of the 16 as they battle to the top of the hill, though. Oh, Thomas Outzen was very shaky into the braking zone, and Bailey gets there. Oh, no, Sean Knight! Heavy into that wall. A big impact for him, and we'll watch this replay as they battled up the hill to the corkscrew. I noticed that they were really challenging one another because Sean Knight cut off into the dirt there and lost a lot of time going up the incline, and there, I don't know where the 23 was going, but he gets backed out, and then I think it just messes up Sean Knight's thinking, gets in the dirt on acceleration and hard into that outside wall.
Obviously, as you go down the hill, the corkscrew, as you go through the second part, unfortunately, it's a blind corner, and unfortunately, he just turned in a bit too early, got on that gravel, I think it is, and unfortunately, that was enough to spin the Miata hard into the concrete wall, so that's unfortunately not race over, but definitely not the ideal race for Sean Knight tonight, and as he drops all the way down to the grid, as he's still waiting for that tow, and that was just really unfortunate for him. But as we cut back to the battle for third place again, now between only a 2-car battle between Christopher Bailey and Thomas Outson, that's going to be a battle to look out for. But as we move down to the battle of the 58 car, Brock Hogan is starting to put the pressure on Tim Bernard, and is he going to line up a move? As you can see there, Brock Hogan just getting the optimal apex, I guess, of turn 3, as he's going to be lining himself up for an overtake. As you can see there, the wide Mazda of Tim Bernard getting all out of shape, the number 47, and he's going to be vulnerable down to a move down into turn 5 by Brock Hogan. He's going to be poking the inside of that Miata. Is he going to be braking later? He doesn't, and Tim Bernard just closes the door in the brake.
I was just about to say, we just saw a pass into one of these 90-degree corners go a little wrong for the other driver on the outside of the corner. We'll see if it happens there, but they do get it sorted out. Tim Bernard holds a spot for now. And with Sean Knight's unfortunate incident off the exit of the corkscrew, he stays on the lead lap, I believe. But what this does do is this makes it harder and harder on Adam Poppenhaus to try to get this title, because Hunter Reeve has to finish that far down the running order, and he really needs something to happen to Hunter Reeve, and he needs to find some pace to really get up there to really have a shot at getting the beneficiary title. But for now, Adam Poppenhaus sat 9th, right smack dab in the middle of Brolsema and Winker, a couple of his competitors in his class, and kind of just riding it out. There's not much really Poppenhaus can do at this point.
It's going to take a lot, unfortunately, for Adam to have a decent shot at this title. We are going to do things a bit out of the ordinary here. We mentioned that we couldn't get that pre-race interview in with Nicole McElroy, but we're going to go ahead. We'll bring her in here mid-race. We'll talk to her about her role at RECARO. So we'll invite Nicole into the booth. And Nicole, looks like we finally got you back. Unfortunately, looks like some connection issues postponing our little interview here. But how are you doing this evening?
Good. How you doing?
We're doing great here, and much better now that we get to bring you in and talk to you here. So you're the Director of North American Sales and Global Marketing for RECARO Automotive, as I understand it. Tell us about really who and what RECARO is.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about that. Basically, we are an automotive performance seating supplier, and we supply both in aftermarket, motorsports, and in the OEM sector. We also do stadium seating, so if you're familiar with European football, which is also known as soccer, we also provide stadium seating, maritime, and office chairs.
And so, Nicole, I think, of course, we're most used to motorsports relating to RECARO, but tell us about your role there, as it says, Director of North American Sales and Global Marketing for RECARO. Tell us about your role with the company and what you help them do.
So with my role, what I help do is I help connect people to our brand and our products through multi-channels, such as here, you guys are iRacing tonight, and in that vehicle, you typically would have a seat that you're sitting in or in your sim, and a lot of guys that race on track use their vehicle seats in their sims as well. and they try to replicate what they do on track in their sim. And I help bring that together, meaning making sure there's a brand awareness amongst our associates and those that want to basically become part of what we offer and add that excitement. So, motorsports, you notice, is a lot of excitement and really bringing that to life so that people can enjoy and engage with it. And then that is an umbrella for us to bring that to home with everyday users that want to have performance vehicles as a regular car. So bringing that into your OEM products that you have on the street.
And so, Nicole, of course, we always want to talk about our guest company's connection to Operation Motorsport and just motorsports in general. You mentioned that you guys also, I mean, you're mostly RECARO Automotive. I think that's what most people think of, but you mentioned the other things that RECARO focuses on. So let's talk first about RECARO's role with Otmo, the partnership there, and just what you guys, I guess, do and look to do in motorsports.
For us, really the biggest thing connecting with Operation Motorsports is in regards to really making sure that we know who our customers are, and also want to support their lives and what they've done and what they contributed to allowing us to have the things that we have, right? And so our connection to connecting with our veterans is big, because we have veterans not just only on our teams but also that are engaged in using our products. And to us, it's important to support those efforts and the needs that people have to be able to support what's important to us, such as our freedom and the freedom to be able to race and drive and do the things that we do, right? And no what better way to do that but through supporting those that have contributed for our country.
And in addition, rather, to the real world and real racing efforts that RECARO and Operation Motorsport work on, there are some prizes being given away to these guys who've been racing all season long in the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League, presented by RECARO. Tell us about those prizes that these guys can expect.
So for the top winners, we're going to be offering them a seat for their sim, or if they want to put it in their vehicle, they can do that as well. And then we also have, for some secondary prizes that we've been doing, is some gift packets that have RECARO branded merchandise. And that merchandise, just for your own awareness, is something that cannot be purchased. It's only developed for our teams and our partners. And it's really allows somebody to have something unique and precious that they otherwise wouldn't have access to.
And I've always finished up, or at least for the most part finished up, with just talking about the future. What might be next, especially with our current climate in the world today. Everything's a whole lot of mixed up in a whole lot of different ways. But what is next? What is the future for you and working with Otmo and really just 2021 in general?
Yeah, as we go forward, the biggest thing is really bringing light to those that allow us to be in the racing environment, both on the track and at the track and in iRacing. So we are in the development of understanding the sim world and what product lines we could bring in there, but also making sure that we have the right products for on the track, and really connecting with those teams and supporting the efforts that Operation Motorsports does in regards to supporting those that need to have that team environment. And so ways that we can do that is connecting people with teams, allowing us to do some sponsorships. It's not huge, but it's enough to which, we feel like we can at least make some changes and help support the initiatives that are going on, even if it's just through making the right connections as well.
Well, Nicole, we want to thank you for your time, as it sounds like you're heading through middle of nowhere, Utah. Drive safely. Hopefully you get where you're going quickly and conveniently, I suppose. Thank you for your time once again, and thank you for what you and the rest of RECARO has done for Operation Motorsport and the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League. It's been a wonderful time being able to cover these guys racing for now 8 races on the season. We're looking very much forward to the final race that I think we plan to have for 2020, the iRace of Remembrance, and working with you guys there as well. We look forward to what the future may hold, and it's certainly, I think, going to show that the sky is the limit for this kind of partnership.
Absolutely, and we are more than grateful to be actually brought into the circle to allow us to support and know that your efforts don't go unnoticed as we engage with your teammates even at the track and see the differences they make with the teams and those that are around them. So thank you for including us.
And once again, that is Nicole McElroy, the Director of North American Sales and Global Marketing for RECARO Automotive. And once again, Nicole, thank you for your time. We'll be talking to you later.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And that's Nicole, and thank you her for her time, especially making that work mid-race here, as we were supposed to talk to her pre-race. And then, man, there have been certainly all kinds of gremlins all year long in so many different ways, but so glad that we finally got to get that one in and speak with her about RECARO and what they do with Operation Motorsport. It's worth mentioning that Dustin Burkhalter pitted very recently. I think the last time around, this should be his outlap onto the racetrack. He falls to 10th position, and it's so interesting to me that he has made that short pit. I'm not sure what the gap was. Maybe you guys were paying more attention while I was talking to Nicole there, but he just might be able to make some inroads on that lead, but it's going to take a lot for him to actually get to and pass Chris Walsh, even with an undercut. Brian Burkhart now down the pit lane. He brings John Winker with him. We also saw Theo Brolsma, Joe Keens, Brock Hogan, and Sean Knight has pitted, and actually Joe Keens pitted 5 laps ago. That's pretty early, so we'll see if he can make it to the end. John Winker, Callum Belden, Brian Burkhart, they all come down the pit lane.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the round of pit stop is coming. Obviously, we do have the 50% starting fuel load, and a lot of drivers came in, and we can see some drivers are also taking tires. Obviously, we do have quite a bit of a hot track, around 28 degrees Celsius, so it's a bit cooler than what we started with qualifying, but looks like tires do take a toll on the Maz. As you can see, both the Miatas taking tires, but some battles are still very heating up. We have Theo Brolsma battling with Brock Hogan, so Theo trying to put a good result on the finale of this season, as we do have Chris Walsh, our overall leader, coming into the pit road, and as I think we all can see, everybody that race here, it's a very dangerous pit road. It's a very easy to make mistake and hit the tire barrier and get some damage on your car, but looks like everybody made it safely on race day.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drivers have trouble with that in practice, and good thing they did practice it, because it is a tight. I mean, it's tighter than the actual corner there, turn 11. So it's really, really heavy braking zone. Of course, you have pit speed to make as well. But you're just looking at these drivers, it's almost a work of art watching them come down the pit lane through that pit entry. You saw David Levine there last, and is this Poppenhaus heading in? This is Adam Poppenhaus coming into the pit lane, and he'll make it in. Just a little wince every time I see a driver come through there.
Yeah, it really does take the breath away when they come charging in there. Of course, you want to maximize how fast you can enter the pit lane without going over at the commitment line, because if you are going too fast at that commitment line into the pit lane, it's that yellow cone there on entry, you do rack yourself up a penalty. But again, you've got to maximize the effort getting in. You've got to go as fast as you can for as long as you can in order to save time, and that goes long ways. We see it in NASCAR pit entries, we see it in road pit entries, everything in between. You've got to be so very careful getting in, but also so aggressive, because a lot of time can be lost in the pit lane, and in these races where you have to pit, that is often the difference. Chris Bailey has stayed out so far. He's your current leader. Hunter Reeve with him. Tim Bernard also is not pitted, neither has Jake Gleason, but of the drivers who have, Chris Walsh has quite a gap, it looks like, to Dustin Burkhalter, somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 seconds, and they had almost identical pit stops. In fact, the stop itself was faster for Burkhalter by 0.2, but the overall pit lane time was 1/10 slower for the 33 car of Dustin Burkhalter. So really just about identical for those two drivers. Tim Bernard, he is not pitted just yet. We'll see if any of these guys come in this time. Looks like Hunter Reeve opts not to. Tim Bernard, we'll see what he does. But going back to the point that, or I guess of the drivers who have pitted, how they will cycle out, it'll be Chris Walsh, Dustin Burkhalter. Currently, Thomas Outzen is set to take 3rd place. David Levine is the 4th of the drivers to have pitted so far. But worth noting, his pit stop was a total of 5 seconds longer, just about.
Yeah, we can see a lot of drivers taking different strategies. I guess the only drivers taking different strategies are Christopher Bailey, Hunter Reeve, and Tim Bernard. So going really long on the fuel tank, going as long as possible, and obviously they're most likely going to take tires as well. So trying to suffer a bit on these old tires right now in order to get better and newer tires towards the end of the race. And looks like the older tires are already starting to take a toll on Hunter Reeve, as he already made a few mistakes like braking on the dirt and nearly spinning out. But looks like Chris Walsh will continue to create that gap, as seems to pretty much just be cruising around that 12-second gap. Obviously, if a mistake is made, it's easy to make. But you can see there John Winker trying to get the slipstream of Joe Keens. Joe is obviously going to go defensive, as you should do in order to try and defend your position. That's going to force out John Winker on the outside. Is he going to be brave around the outside on the brakes? Looks like someone is really brave. Callum Belden nearly runs into the back of the white Miata of John Winker. But looks like everybody made it safely through, all four of them essentially. Oh, sorry, four of them, because we have Theo Brosma joining the fight as well.
Let's remember, Joe Keens had an early spin off the bottom of the corkscrew, and here comes Winker peeking to the inside. Almost contact between those two. Oh boy, on board with Theo Brosma. Now we're on board with Callum Beldam, as he's looking at the back end of John Winker's white Miata. They are 4 ducks in a row as they work their way up the hill to turn 6, and Keens has been on the move since his spin, and of course he got that car back going. I don't think he pitted because of the spin, but he had to go all the way to the back of the running order, and he's already back into the 11th position. Will he get a top 10 to salvage some sort of resemblance of this race? We'll see. He's got 4 seconds to Adam Poppenhaus.
These guys really dicing things up. Worth noting, Hunter Reeve finally on the pit lane, Tim Bernard as well. So they will surrender their positions on the racetrack. That moves Chris Walsh back into P2 as they continue their tear back up to where they will eventually cycle out to Jake Gleason, also down to the safety of pit lane. You see him there. As these 4 drivers, they've all pitted and they are racing things out. Really make it 5, almost 6 in this line. Sean Knight tagging on to the back end. Brock Hogan as well. These guys really racing things out for the mid-pack. You saw Theo Brosma. He, I think, lost a little bit of time after almost making contact there with Callum Belden into 5. And speaking of Callum Belden, wow, what a send on the outside. Misses turn 2 entirely. He's off in the dirt. Going to lose a lot of time here to those guys he was racing with. Hangs on to the race car. That was a battle. Joe Keens and John Winker into turn 3, side by side. Winker trying to make the pass. Tries to do it the hard way around the outside and just can't quite get it done. Can he get a run out of turn 4, maybe to 5? Wow, these guys are really dicing things up. A little bit of argy-bargy.
Oh, sorry about that. I was pressing the wrong button, but Theo Brosma actually took opportunity of the bad line that John Winker unfortunately had to take around the outside of turn 4 and got the move done. Looks like now he's going to have to go a bit defensive as they head into the corkscrew. Obviously, being a little bit cautious under braking from the car of John Winker, but looks like everybody gets it slowed down, and that was a very opportunistic move from Theo Brosma as he pretty much cuts the second part of the corkscrew, but looks like gets away with a slowdown. Now he only has 1 car ahead of him as of Joe Keens, I apologize, and obviously he's going to be trying to line up that move, as you can see further behind Sean Knight trying to make a move down the inside. He does on the final corner of John Winker. John Winker is going to be getting the cutback line as they go side by side towards the finishing line. It looks like Sean Knight got the move done in a beautiful dive down the inside.
Now, yeah, Sean Knight, see if we can defend against John Winker. Heading here into turn number 2, we saw Callum Beldam trying to work his way to Mexico last time through this corner. We'll see if John Winker is going to get to the inside, maybe. He's really piling on the pressure. He looks to the outside now as they head down to turn 3. He'll file back in line as they are duking it out ahead of them, Brosma and Keens.
Yeah, the best part about watching this onboard right now from the onboard of John Winker is you can see the battle ahead as, Winker got the turtle there on the inside of turn 4. So we'll jump up to Theo Brosma as he puts the assault all over the back end of the 243 of Joe Keens. We've seen Joe Keens make mistakes so far this evening, so it's going to be important. Now, I don't know if you want to pass right here, though. We've seen this go south before this evening, but Theo's going to send it. He's going to go up the inside. He finally backs out right at the braking zone. Oh, but it almost pays off. Joe Keens in the dirt sideways, and he hangs on. Now Theo's going to go up the inside into the corkscrew, and he gets the pass done before the braking zone. What a move there from Theo. Here comes Sean Knight. Oh, wow!
And Joe Keens, after making a fantastic save and losing 2 positions on the entry of the corkscrew, makes those 2 back with an incredible overtake on the outside of both of those drivers, as Theo Brosma and Sean Knight both made mistakes on the second part of the corkscrew, and that cost them quite a few, actually cost them 2 positions each. And that was just a fantastic save from Joe Keens, you know, going into the dirt, and absolutely pretty much the car was 90 degrees, and he managed to pull that back, not only losing 2 positions but getting them back as well only a few corners later.
All that brings Callum Beldam back into the mix. He's now latching onto the back of this train. He's still a second and a half behind, but he now has some light back in this battle, and this battle continues to grow as we head into the final third of this 1-hour event.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to that fourth quarter portion, aren't we? Where these guys are really going to have to start racing for things and get a little bit even more argy-bargy. We've seen a lot of really close racing this evening, and one close battle is actually David Levine and Hunter Reeve. These two starting to near one another, and this is important for Hunter Reeve. I mean, he's got a 16-point advantage, sure, but he still wants to get every single point that he can and hang on to everything that he can, all the bragging rights possible, and put as much of a gap on Adam Poppenhouse with his championship as he can. And, of course, everything will be provisional as of the end of the race. We'll wait on official word from series officials on all of that. But we do believe that everything should be very squared away, at least for the top spot in each of our classes. And, of course, Chris Walsh has his locked up just by, I think, running the last 3 races. And they will go nose to tail into turn 11 here. Hunter Reeve, David Levine, this will be back for the 5th position. And then that string of cars still at it as, wow, side-by-side are Keens and Winker. Glad we came to that right at that moment as that contact was made down turn 9.
Yeah, John Winker got an excellent run out of the corkscrew. As you can see, Theo Brosma actually getting really close to that rear end of John Winker as he's going to dive down the inside.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
A
massive crash. And unfortunately, looks like everybody was pretty much collected there, as looks like Sean Knight actually was really opportunistic on the move down the inside. And unfortunately, Theo Brosma decided to do the same, as looks like everybody's going to be coming out of damage out of that one, especially Theo Brosma with a very damaged rear end. As you can see that on the replay, Theo just got a great run out of the second to last corner, decided to move down the inside, but at the same time, Sean Knight was also there, and unfortunately, yeah, that was big contact, unfortunately, for all of those 4 drivers.
Yeah, I'm going to look at this replay again before I have any opinion on all that. But again, it was just hard racing. First of all, John Winker, I don't know how he held on to that. That was insane. He looked like he was going to find his way into the dirt, but all 4 of them, again, just hard racing. And I think Brosma was just really piling on. And here comes Sean Knight. Wow, he was really late on the brakes. And Joe Keens, an innocent bystander, and all of that as well. And Keens looks like he loses the most amount of spots. I think he lost 5.
I think that was just 2 really big moves from Sean Knight especially, but also Theo Brosma with how late he moved over. Even though Sean Knight was so deep on the brakes right there, that's just that's a bit of a no-no when you move that late in a braking zone. Sean Knight off the racetrack. Oh my! The excitement does not die down with these guys, does it? Because Sean Knight, all kinds of sideways, headed down the corkscrew one more time. He's ahead of Callum Belden here. We'll see how this all works out on the replay. And these guys just keep going at it. There's never a dull moment with them. This is heavy into the braking zone, I imagine, again here for Sean. And yeah, he kind of, actually, he looks okay there. I think just the way the car settled, it didn't really play nicely. And he almost comes over to John Winker. And now he's spun around out of turn 11.
Yeah, looks like an absolute disaster few laps for Sean Knight. As you can see, yeah, we're looking at the replay. You can see there just coming out of normal braking zone. It looks like he just got into the dirt and into that sausage curb essentially, and unfortunately spins the car. Has to do a 3-point turn to get back, pointing the right way, and that's pretty much a disaster few laps. 1 minute 55 over, I guess, 10 seconds slower than the average of cars, but the battle ahead of him continues very much, I guess. John Winker looks like he lost a few positions. No, they're still battling for P9, as Callum Belden now is the leading car of this battle. Theo Brosma looks like, even with the damaged car, is very strong right now, as Brock Hogan is piling the pressure on John Winker. Looks like they're both going to be pretty much pointy nose to tail as they head up in the blind left-hander of turn 6. Looks like Theo Brosma actually got a very bad run over turn 6. That's going to leave him vulnerable for John Winker. Is going to be pointing the car down the inside of the corkscrew. Theo actually leaving absolutely no space, and he keeps his nose clean. Actually, his rear end clean right now as they head down into the corkscrew.
As I think they start to get a little calm. I say that loosely because they are still tightly packed. If we're talking football, we're into the fourth quarter now, and Patrick Mahomes, Chris Walsh, who would be the equivalent of that, has a 4-score lead over Dustin Burkhalter. It is looking rough for everybody else, but Burkhalter did get the second, which he was making his tear up through the middle of the field after the terrible start for Burkhalter. He gets back to second, and David Levine up to fifth. We've seen him. Well, we haven't really seen him on the broadcast tonight, but he has been making his moves through the field, similar to how Burkhalter was. And up to P5 after starting in middle of the pack, I think 11 for 12 for David Levine. He's showing why he's a pro driver, even with abysmal qualifying. He'll get up to P5, and he's a little bit away from Thomas, but we'll see if he can improve his spot anymore.
And David Levine has, as you mentioned, made that pass on Hunter Reeves. So into the top 5 there for the other pro driver in our race. And he's just trying to hunt down now Thomas Allison. But it is 15 seconds. That, I guess, would be a 2-score deficit if we're talking football. And it would be just over a 2-score deficit as well for Dustin Burkhalter. 15 seconds back of Chris Walsh. He has company there in somebody, though. I think that's one of our lapped cars. Is that... possibly Brian Winker? No, I think that might be Mark Bray. Survey says it's Jay Gleason in the number 6 car, keeping Dustin Burkhalter some company right now as they do start to encounter that lap traffic. Brian Winker actually very close here to battling with Tim Bernard. This is for 15th.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like they're both actually really close. I guess Brian got a little bit luckier with the traffic. As you can see there, Tim Bernard getting a whole lot of shape through turn 6. There's the rear end of the car now. Looks like it's getting very unsettled. So another challenge for these drivers, as Brian Winker, after starting P19, already made 3 positions. Unfortunately for Tim Bernard, he only made 1 position so far in the race. That's due to his Rick Hazlitt instance early on in the race. But looks like these two are going to be battling very close in the next few laps. We're going to have to wait and see if Brian Winker has the pace to catch up to Tim Bernard, and hopefully he does, and hopefully we have another battle on track to watch and commentate.
Yeah, as that battle continues, the midfield battle. Oh, on pit road, that's Sean Knight.
Wonder if this came from a penalty or a I don't know, damage, something. I wonder what the cause is here for Sean Knight. We'll see when he comes down the pit lane. I'd imagine the right front definitely more scored up than it was, and he just ducks down the pit lane. Yeah, I wonder what happens here for the 10-car Sean Knight. You saw he was definitely getting into a few mix-ups, and I wonder if one of those might have had something to do with it. I really do wonder. Can't find anything, though, so yeah, just definitely unfortunate there for Sean Knight. He was making things exciting there with those guys in the midfield, and then unfortunately it looks like he has ducked out of this one.
Yeah, looks like he disconnected at this point, so pretty much DNF for Sean Knight. That's unfortunate, obviously starting on the front row, and unfortunately got, mixed up in some instances, and unfortunately that's race over for him. But, you know, the battle that he left us is still very much alive. As you can see now, John Wicker, is he going to be looking down the inside in the final corner? He doesn't. Theo Brosma absolutely carrying that, destroyed Miata. That looks like it has damage on pretty much every single quarter panel on the left and the rear end, but looks like he's still dragging that car and trying to hold the position from John Winker. Looks like he's not going defensive, so is he thinking about letting John Winker go and just letting this battle slide so he can finish the race? Looks like, oh, John Winker gets pretty close under him on braking, goes a little bit wide, but it looks like he's going to keep his position as Brock Hogan is actually not going to be putting the nose inside down into turn 2.
One more quick thing on Sean. Sean Knight. I wonder if he suffered an incident penalty, because that is 22 incident points that he would have had to rack up. And these guys were flying off the track a lot, but and a couple 4Xs in there wouldn't help that as well. But I've been watching this battle, and Brock Hogan has really been on the aggressive. He wants to get into this top 10. It would be a great sight for him in his second race to get up here into the top 10, and he's been aggressive. He's made contact with John Winker into the corkscrew a couple laps, so we'll see if that happens this time. No, Winker's going to the inside of Brolsema.
Crazy stuff as they go up to the top of the hill and make their turn in for the corkscrew. Hogan at the inside, he tags Brolsema. Brolsema through the dirt, but he hangs on to it. That's going to be a time penalty for the 24 car, and that incidental contact is going to definitely pay detriment to the 24. Theo fights back into turn 10, though. He's not going to let that one go without a fight. And oh, side by side, some contact, and maybe they'll race into turn 11.
Now as they head into the final corner, Theo looks like he thought better of it, trying to get a better run out of the last corner, as obviously he has the damaged car, he has that extra drag. He's going to be putting the car in the slipstream right on the tail end of Brock Hogan. Looks like they're matching speeds essentially, so Theo Brosma is going to have to be really brave, under the brakes down into turn 1. Is he going to be sending down the inside? No, he's just applying the pressure. Looks like Brock Hogan went a bit wide, but Theo unfortunately has to brake again in mid-corner, and that's going to settle, I guess, this position for now, as Brock Hogan now moves up into P11, trying to chase down John Winker in P10. But, you know, if these guys keep battling, Joe Keats, as he goes a bit wide, is definitely going to be thanking them as he gets closer and closer to that battle.
I have to wonder if Brock Hogan is maybe just misjudging the braking point because he has so much slipstream coming up the hill into the corkscrew, but that's the second or third lap in a row he's made contact with somebody's left rear quarter panel into the corkscrew. We'll see if it happens this time. He'll be following well, he's actually ahead of Brolsma actually, so scratch that. But I was wondering if Hogan was just being affected by massive slipstream. We'll see if, as they get strung out, he's now 11th. We'll see if he can get up to John Winker and get into the top 10.
Things starting to sort themselves out. So let's walk you from the back to the front of this field. We mentioned Sean Knight has disconnected from this one, unfortunately. Looks like he is done after making things exciting for most of this race. Rick Hazlitt, though, hanging on in the 18th spot. Certainly not what we're used to seeing there from the 59 car. He is one lap down the dead last car that is still on the racetrack and currently right in front of Thomas Olsen. We'll see how this one works out there through turn 6 rather, and they'll still hang on to things. But Jay Gleason's up ahead. He's into the corkscrew. That is 17th position there for Jay. In the 16th spot is Mark Bray in the number 946. Brian Winker in 15th position. These guys all just having very quiet days. Tim Bernard here in 14th as well. Remember, he had that amazing moment at Charlotte a few weeks ago where he took out all of the cones there between turns 7 and 8 in the infield. Joe Keen's currently in the 13th position after starting 9th and running 7th at one point. Just in all of that mix-up, all of that commotion, especially into turn 11, he gets turned around and has lost some positions here, JP.
And obviously in P12 we do have Theo Brosma, a very damaged car. Unfortunately, it looks like he's losing a bit of contact to our 11th place spot, who's now challenging for P10. So Brock Hogan definitely doing an excellent race excellent second part of the race, as he's now challenging John Winker as they head into the corkscrew. He's going to be sending down the inside. Looks like he breaks a bit earlier than usual, but forces John Winker into a mistake. John is going to have to go wide, and looks like he keeps the position for now, as they both are trying to chase down. Callum Belden has absolutely bolted away from both of them due to the contact early on. He's now looking, settling himself into ninth after starting 12th. Brian Burkhardt starting P7, unfortunately lost one position, is now in 8th, and obviously finally Adam Poppenhaus unfortunately not having the best race that, I guess the race that he wanted to try and win a championship, currently finding himself in 7th after making 3 places from the position he started in.
And on the other side of that, unfortunate for Poppenhaus, but it really does look like Hunter Reeve is about 5.5 minutes away and some change on that final lap from calling this the season. What a run it's been for Hunter Reeve this season. And today he's, of course, he started 8th and he's made his way up to 6th. He was at 3rd at one point. That was, of course, during the pit cycle, but he's been quiet and he's done everything he's needed. He has a lead of 17 points right now, or coming into today. And actually right now it would be 17 actually as they run right now. We'll see, of course, when that becomes official after the race. We'll see if that holds true. But nonetheless, Hunter Reeve is looking very, very good on his way to a beneficiary title. We move on forward to David Levine, and I just talked about his tear to the field a few minutes ago. He's been holding station in P5, started 14th. Look at that run, 14th to 5th. That is driver of the day standards if I've ever seen any. And we'll move on forward to Thomas Altson. It's been a quiet day up for him, up front at least. He's been all over 3rd, 4th, and 5th in that battle early, and from then on, it strung itself out. And just finding his nice little nest here in the 4th position. We'll see if we can maybe muster up something, maybe make a run at Christopher Bailey, who's been, well, 3rd. And, well, that's where he started, and that's where he is. He did lead 3 laps on the pit cycle when Chris Walsh pitted. He stayed out 3 laps, and he goes wide through turn 6 to hold on to it. Chris Bailey still, I guess, feeling the pressure of Thomas behind. It's about 3 seconds, that gap. But moving on forward, Dustin Burkhalter looking to wrap up the Open title. Well, that looks like pretty much wrapped up coming into tonight, actually. But he started 4th right now in 2nd. And Burkhalter, after the terrible start, made a run to the field that was absolutely wicked. I think there's contact going on further on in the field. But Burkhalter looking to wrap up his Open title tonight. And Chris Walsh, absolutely dominant. 30 laps led in an hour-long race. That is wicked. Like I compared him to Patrick Mahomes, who's dominating the NFL. Chris Walsh has dominated this season. He's wrapped up his Pro Class title races ago. Chris Walsh on an absolute tear, as he always is, and it just has 3 minutes left on this Opmo season.
Emerson mentioned some contact. We have 3 minutes to go, and these guys are racing like it, though they have been for, I think, the better part of the last half hour of this one. Almost to the 2-minute warning these guys go, as we'll continue the football references, and John Winker leads them into the corkscrew. Joe Keatson toe as he makes the pass on Theo Brolsema. These guys are just ahead of race leader Chris Walsh, trying to stay on the lead lap. They are the next ones that would get lapped if Chris can make it up to them. They are just behind Brock Hogan, who made it through these 3 cars now that continue to battle. So a great run for Brock to come in here, and he's currently going to walk away with a top 10. How about that for the driver of the 58 to pass all these guys as they continue to battle? Oh, and Theo Brolsema may have just had an incident penalty. He's down the pit lane. Heartbreak once again for Theo. He's had great runs, just not quite the results to show for it.
Yeah, exactly. He was struggling as they headed out of the turn 6. Unfortunately, had to back out, and unfortunately for him, that's a drive-through penalty. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Unfortunately, it's going to put him a lap down and put him away from that battle that we were just watching. but that battle is still very much alive. Joe Keens trying to chase down John Winker, who's just ahead of him, trying to put some pressure in. As we said, if those guys keep battling, Joe Keens is definitely going to be, catching them lap after lap, and looks like he did. Now it's only a matter of time if he's going to be able to get past John Winker, as they had, I guess, for 2 laps to go. And John Winker looks like, unfortunately, lost out to Brock Hogan as well, who is on a very strong race, already made 3 positions from where he started in an excellent second part of this race.
The aggression Brock Hogan has shown in the later stages of this race has proved beneficial enough for a 10th place spot at the moment. We still have 75 seconds left, so it'll come around at least 1 more lap for these guys, maybe 2, depending on where they are in relation to Chris Walsh. So I think it will be 2. I think Chris Walsh is coming to lap these boys. But Chris Walsh, as he works his way through turn 9, he'll come around and likely take the white flag with less than a minute left here at Laguna Seca. And I mean, what else can we say about Chris Walsh and his absolute dominance this season?
Yeah, Chris has just been first place every step of the way. The only overall win that I don't think he has was certainly, I think, Indianapolis, where he got beat out by Dustin Burkhalter. No, Charlotte as well, where he had his mistakes. So really just those pair of races, the Rovals, if you will, where Chris was beat. Otherwise, he's been just rock solid all season long, winning everything there's been to win otherwise if we weren't at Indianapolis or Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he's going to do exactly that this evening as long as he makes it back around the back portion of this circuit. He's still got some lap cars up ahead. Anything could still happen, ladies and gentlemen. This is not done just yet, but for the driver who wants to get his 7th class win, his 6th, I believe, overall win on the season, it's just a matter of coasting. He's got 18 seconds back to Dustin Burkhalter to wrap this season up here for the driver of the number 28. Very smooth through turn 6. Just barely clips the gravel on the outside. You see that battle up ahead. Actually, let's take part in some of that real quick as they run through the corkscrew and they battle down the hill now just ahead of race leader Chris Walsh. These guys still going at it toe to toe. Never a dull moment with these guys with this lot. This is, let's see, 10th, 11th, and 12th right now. Just trying to hang on to the back end of the lead lap. Looks like they will do just that. Chris Walsh at this point just in cruise control, just riding around. He's got 1 corner to go before he wraps up his 6th overall win on the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League presented by RECARO season. Chris Walsh will win the finale at Laguna Seca. What a season it has been for the 28.
I guess this race and his lap times just sums it up perfectly. Just an absolute dominance, so consistent, with so little mistakes. Unfortunately for Dustin Burkhalter, it wasn't his day to trying to challenge Chris Walsh, but he comes after a very strong race. Drop down, but unfortunately, luckily for him, he managed to get it up as Christopher Bailey unfortunately ran out of fuel. Looks like Thomas Alton, it's gonna be being the lucky guy to try to finish on the podium, actually. So on his first outing for Operation eMotorsport, he's gonna be finishing on the podium. That's a fantastic result for him. Well done for him as well. Great racecraft. As you can see there, Christopher Bailey running out of fuel. That's not the first time we see this thing happen on this league, but obviously David Levine is also gonna finish ahead of him. He's gonna finish P4, and unfortunately for Adam Poppenhaus, Hunter Reeve is going to finish on the top 5, as well as Christopher Bailey. Unfortunately, is going to be taking the shortcut through the pits. But as you can see there, the man that won the championship for the beneficiary class, Hunter Reeve, comes home in 5th place, winner of his class and winner of his championship.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, all the class winners are all the champions. Of course, Adam Poppenhaus will come home 6th as scoring updates with Chris Bailey in the pit lane, and Burkhalter comes home 7th. Bailey crawling, trying to get what he can get, but Callum Beldam looks like he'll get 8th. We'll see where the line is. Was that the line, or is it up the hill? Right now it says Beldam did get 8th. No, I don't think Christopher Bailey's going to make it up the hill. John Winker. Yeah, no. John Winker beats out no, he got beat out by Joe Keens. Brock Hogan no longer on the track, and that's gonna do it for the lead lap cars. John Winker and Joe Keynes had their drag race to the line, and it was 6/100ths of a second for 9th position.
Yeah, looks like Brock Hogan runs out of fuel there, just like Chris Bailey. These guys have played it close all season long. Keep in mind, Chris Walsh lost to Indianapolis only because he cut fuel that short, and he played the fuel strategy game, was just short. He made it through 12 of 13 corners at Indianapolis. These guys doing just about the same thing. Chris Bailey made it down the hill, just didn't have power to get back. I think Brock Hogan, about the same category. These guys wrap up an amazing season, though. An amazing first season for us with Operation Motorsport, but they've been racing for a few seasons. They've mixed it up with some different cars. This season with these Global Mazda MX-5s, amazing racing all season long. Of course, Spec Miata racing is always good, but these guys certainly made it a treat. This was quality racing through and through. Every step of the way was a ton of fun to be a part of. We do want to go straight through and interview our class winners right away this evening, so we'll get a hold of them here. Of course, Chris Walsh, Dustin Burkhalter, and Hunter Reeve. We'll get all of them. We'll talk to them here right away, actually, a bit different from usual. And so we'll just jump straight into it, and we will bring Chris Walsh in. And Chris, what a season it is. You wrap it up with yet another victory, this time at at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Even I'm still a little bit behind on that update, but yet another win for you. 33 laps led this evening.
Yeah, no, it was a great race. The qualifying was really tight today, and everyone, I mean, there was some surprising pace from some guys, which was awesome. The big thing here always is just consistency. It's so easy to make mistakes and lose a 10th here and a 10th there. So that was just my goal, is to stay focused and not end up in a wall somewhere.
Well, unlike Charlotte Motor Speedway, you do not end up in a wall this evening, and really, aside from those 2 blemishes on your season, I think it was perfect through and through. You show that this evening. You led, I think, every lap that wasn't affected by a pit cycle, and I think that was just about the same through the entire season, man. How do you do it? I mean, we need a 4th class, I feel like, for aliens.
I don't know about that, but yeah, just, the biggest challenge, I think, in racing, and for anybody who's new to this, is always like finding a way to keep focused and try to hit your best lap every time. That's something that I've worked pretty hard on, and I've still managed to mess up, as you saw in Charlotte. So, and these guys behind me are fast, so it's pushing me to give my best out there. So, it was a really exciting series, and everybody showed a lot of speed, and were great drivers and gentlemen, and so it was really enjoyable all around.
And we've talked to you a ton this season, but remind everybody watching about your connection here to Operation Motorsport, and as well as AOA Racing.
Yeah, so I got into I learned about Operation Motorsport through Porsche Club of America. They do a sim series as well, and I learned about it there. And I'm an active duty military member, so there's their mission and what they're doing is really near and dear to my heart. I've dealt with it firsthand. Mental health issues with guys coming back from deployment with injuries. So it's something that I understood the importance of, and what that transition looks like for our service members. And how that can be difficult. So, I'm a huge fan of it. And so that was why I wanted to get involved. And then AOA, yeah, I got out and raced with AOA this year. And those guys are just starting their foray into pro racing. So it's been pretty exciting to watch them in TCR. And, I think there's going to be some other classes potentially that they're going to jump into in the future. So we'll see.
And Chris, of course, thank you for your service. You mentioned, we've talked all kinds about guys who come back from overseas with injuries, but I don't think we talk enough about the mental health situation. And of course, Mission 22, trying to bring that number down from 22 to 21 and hopefully down to 0 very, very soon. That's absolutely, I think, as the name suggests, the mission. Glad that you shed light on it. It's even something that, despite being very passionate about it myself, sometimes I kind of overlook, and I think everybody needs to think about it very much. Chris, who do you have to thank? We'll be talking to you shortly here, I'm sure, but who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out here to close out the season?
Yeah, you guys at Pit Stop TV, I mean, you've been with us all season long. You've done a phenomenal job. It's been awesome to rewatch your broadcast afterwards, and your commentary is always great and right on point. So that's been a big thank you to you guys. Mobile One, RECARO, all of our mainstream sponsors, Redcom, you know, everybody that works with Operation Motorsport to make that a possibility is a big thing, and I'm really, you know, we're really lucky to have those types of sponsors working with this organization. And then finally, just my family and all the service members out there that are still going downrange and doing the job. You know, they give us the opportunity to do things like this, and you know, we're pretty thankful to have men and women like that, you know, protecting those freedoms.
Once again, Chris, thank you so much, and we'll be talking to you, I'm sure, well, I'd imagine so, very, very shortly here in the trophy presentation. Congratulations on an amazing season, and I cannot wait to see what you have in store for the iRace of Remembrance.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
And that's Chris Walsh wrapping up yet another race win this season. We'll hand it down to JP Costa with second place overall, but open winner Dustin Burkhalter.
So, talking with you, Dustin, again, you know, once again, second place, once again, the winner of your class, so that's obviously a plus, but, you know, first, I would just want to talk what happened in qualifying. I guess that wasn't the Dustin that we're used to seeing pretty much every week, you know, on pace. With Chris, was just that a bit of a case of bad luck. We were seeing that the times were dropping after the third, fourth lap. So, what exactly happened in qualifying?
Just bad luck. I was trying to get behind a good drafting partner, take advantage of that, and I ended up actually being a good drafting partner for, it was Christopher with a K, or somebody else, I can't remember who, and just couldn't get back to a good draft after that.
Well, that was actually unfortunately, but thankfully for us, it produces some great racing as he unfortunately dropped back a little bit after the first few laps. And just talk us through that start. Obviously, it was a very hectic start, a very short, I guess, run down up until the green flag, you know, from where you kind of grid up. And obviously, that first lap, first corner was, I guess, was exciting for us, but it might have been terrifying for you.
Yeah, it was. I guess I just timed everything right and got a pretty good jump on second place, and I'm sure we were like 4 wide at some point, and I just got pushed off, and instead of eating the dirt and hoping to not lose the car or take any damage, I let off, I hit the brakes and just tucked back in, and after that it was trying to hunt my way back up to the front.
And obviously, hunt your way back to the front you did, and just talk us through the overtakes. Obviously, you did a lot of overtaking on track, obviously with a great pace that you always show, I guess. How hard was it to overtake on this track? Obviously, you made some great moves around the outside of some corners, but, you know, I guess this track just favors move down the inside, and if you get it covered, I guess it can be pretty hard to overtake the car ahead.
It was a challenge once I caught up to second and third, just trying to get them to make a mistake, get a little too wide, and then get a good run, because if it was just straight pace following behind them, I'm better in braking, but that doesn't help me when they're in front of me and they have the line. So it was definitely worked out.
Oh, sorry about that. And obviously, towards the end of the race, after you got yourself into second and settled, you looked like you had, you know, pretty similar pace to Chris, maybe just, you know, a tad bit shorter, I guess just a tiny bit slower. So do you think maybe if you started on second place as you usually do, or maybe if you got a better run on the start of the race, do you think you could have challenged Chris for that win?
Oh yeah, it'd have been close for a while at least, because while I was passing people, I noticed the gap to him kept falling, and I know working together with other cars helps on that, but most of them were slowing me down a little bit. Otherwise, I'd have tucked in and tried to catch up. But if I'd have been right behind Chris from the start, I think I've actually could have held on to him till the pit cycles at least.
And obviously, I guess this race just settled your championship. You're obviously the open class champion, and well, who do you have to thank for that? You know, obviously, I guess you do have your sponsor, your family. So, do you have to thank for your championship?
RECARO, everyone who put this on. So, Operation Motorsports, Mobile One, USO, Redcom, and then still want to bring up JJ's or James Johnson's Hawaiians for Heroes, the EOD Warrior Foundation, my unit, because they actually let me get off work a little bit early so that I could had plenty of time with my dogs before I got in on this, and then my family.
And I guess to pretty much just end it before we bring you back in a few minutes time, we talked about this, as Andrew mentioned, with Chris, your connection with Operation eMotorsport. How did you join in, and what's your overall connection with them?
I stumbled upon them in the iRacing forum. I'm active duty Army, EOD tech, I defuse bombs, and it sounded like fun. They had a spot for me, and then haven't looked back since.
Well, and I guess they haven't looked back since you joined. Obviously, you provide us great racing and provide us great content to watch and commentate, and I thank you for that. And well, that is it. Congratulations on the championship. We're going to be talking again with you shortly, and I'm going to be passing down to Emerson so he can talk with another champion, Hunter Reeve.
And I'm here with Hunter Reeve. And Hunter, what a day it has been. You came in today, didn't set a time in practice, so that kind of caught me off guard. And then your first time in qualifying was 8 seconds off the pace, but then you turned up the wick in that second half of qualifying, and it was on from there. Kind of talk to us about your day today at Laguna Seca, and what kind of led to that slow start that ultimately worked you not only to a class victory, but the title in this class, in the beneficiary class.
Well, yeah, tonight I just needed a nap and I overslept, so that's what happened there. And yeah, so no, just I mean, the whole season I just tried to stay. I made mistakes, but just tried to stay as clean as I could and finish as high as I could. I mean, there's a lot of fast guys here. It just sometimes it blows my mind how quick some of these guys are. So yeah, just tried to do the best I could for every race, and thankfully it paid off.
What was the biggest challenges you faced this season that you thought would have maybe kept you from winning the beneficiary title?
A long year and a half away from doing any kind of road racing on iRacing. Really, I'm kind of a bit of a dirt oval fan. I'm originally a road course guy, but dirt ovals are my second love, and I was just doing that for a long time. So I was kind of worried that I might not do too well, but I'm kind of happy it went the other way.
Well, looked like Poppenhaus had a little stranglehold on the title early. Talk to us about battling Poppenhaus for this beneficiary title.
Yeah, hats off to him. He's if I understand right, he's a double amputee, and in sim racing, even using your pedals, I mean, you have to use you lose all your senses of driving a normal car on track, so you have to use touch. And people wouldn't think it, but that's really important with your pedals as well. So the fact that he did as well as he did, and it's really impressed me, and it made, it's like I said, I'm impressed with what he was able to do.
I think it's incredible that you shout out his story and what he's gone through as well in this title fight. And I think as a whole, I think that's heartwarming to kind of know that everybody understands each other's stories. And that being said, what is Operation eMotorsport and this sim season kind of meant for you, and the series as a whole meant for you?
Everything's been put on hold because of the current situation in the world, right? So it's been difficult to do things and get people together, and it's just nice that this exists. That we could get together and do some kind of racing and have some kind of competition and have some fun.
Right on. Do you have anybody to thank for your class victory tonight, and ultimately the title that you'll be claiming in a few minutes' time?
A lot of people, actually. I just want to thank Jason Leach for running this series. I've been on iRacing since 2016. I've done leagues. I've done money races, racing wing sprint cars, and a lot of them could learn from what Jason has done. I mean, the information's always been put out is great. Communication, everything's just great. All the competitors have been perfect. I've had zero problems with anything. Just all around a wonderful series. got to thank RECARO and Mobile One and all the circuits that have been getting out prizes to podium finishers. There's just some really cool stuff getting handed out, and really appreciate that. And obviously for Operation Motorsport as well, it's a great group, and like I've said it before, but I can't speak any higher of them. I mean, they're just great.
Right on, and once again, congratulations on the class victory today at Laguna Seca, and of course, the beneficiary class title.
Thank you.
That was Hunter Reeve, and we'll send it back up to Andrew to carry on this post-race coverage.
Well, it's actually going to take a bit of a halt here for a moment. We'll actually take our post-race break now, and we'll be back to you here in just a few moments with continuing post-race coverage. So we'll be right back. We'll be talking to the champions from each division, and we'll kind of just talk to them. But we'll be talking to, I guess, doing a virtual trophy presentation. That's what I'm trying to get to. Words are kind of escaping my mind as per usual. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back here in just a few moments' time with continuing coverage from Laguna Seca.
Picture perfect here in California.
WeatherTech Raceway means home.
One of the world's most challenging racetracks.
Fun, flowing.
80 feet of total elevation change. Now the game faces are on.
3 wide there. He starts to dirt track it.
Always searching for traction.
Corkscrew creates fantastic racing.
Oh, here it is!
Where I did my pass in 2017, it changed my life.
Side-by-side action.
You gotta really play smart so that you can be fast.
One of the greatest spectacles in motorsport.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Fantastic racing.
There's a tussle out there today.
Dusty and slippery.
It's the corkscrew, man.
Dropping down, it's like a mine shaft.
Laguna Seca is a classic.
One of the greatest spectacles in motorsport.
Welcome back to WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca. You look down upon this this definitely scary course for some, challenging for others, and for Chris Walsh, apparently a walk in the park. It was certainly a great race to wrap up the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League presented by RECARO's season. 8 amazing races, 8 hours of racing. It all came down really down to the final race, even for the beneficiary class. So that was very cool to see that battle last all the way through. Let's quickly go over our race results, and I'll hand it over to JP Acosta with the top 10.
So finishing once again, I guess, for the 6th time this season on overall, on the overall win. On first place, Chris Walsh with the number 28 car. Just behind him, actually 17 seconds behind him, Dustin Burkhalter, the winner of the Open class, the 2 champions of their respective class. On his first outing of this series, Thomas Outson finishes 3rd place. David Levine, after starting in P14, finishes in 4th. Hunter Reeve, another champion, finishes in P5, the champion obviously for the beneficiary class. In 6th place, the runner-up for the beneficiary class, Adam Poppenhaus, finishes in 6th. Brian Burkhart in the number 3 car finishes P7 after a strong race, but unfortunately ran out of fuel in the final lap. Callum Belden finishes in 8th place. The number 7 of John Winker finishes in 9th. And Joe Keaton, the number 243, finishes in 10th place.
We file on to the second page of our results, and Christopher Bailey scored 11th, 1 lap down. Unfortunately, if he could have just made it up that hill, he would have still finished on the lead lap, but running out of gas in that final lap, he could not chug it up the hill. It will be a 1 lap down officially in the scoring for Christopher Bailey. Brock Hogan, in his second start, made some aggressive moves, almost had a top 10 also, I believe, ran out of gas in the final lap. He'll finish a lap down. Theo Brolsema with a drive-through penalty towards the end. He'll finish P13. Tim Bernard, Brian Winker, Jay Gleason, Rick Hazlitt, my bad, and Mark Bray, all 1 lap down, 14th through 18th. Sean Knight will finish, I guess, last car to be scored, 9 laps down after getting into several incidents on that last half of the race.
And so that's your full 19-car field. You see Jason Leach down there at the bottom. He did not compete this evening. He's competed throughout a little bit, but he was actually, so he was kind of the predecessor to us here for the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League. He handled the broadcasting in previous seasons, and he is here this evening to present our season awards to the top 3 in the beneficiary and open categories. Jason, you have the floor. Go ahead and take it away.
Hey, Andrew, hey, thank you very much, and really quick thanks to the entire Pit Stop TV crew for this tremendous broadcast you guys have put on for us. I appreciate that introduction there as a predecessor, but you guys just really showed me that I had no business doing what I was doing in the booth, so I really appreciate everything you guys did for us. So really quick, we're gonna pull up Chris Walsh. We've already heard a lot from Chris Walsh, throughout this season. Not only is he a volunteer with Operation Motorsport and an active duty Air Force officer, but those of you out there who don't know, he's also part of the U.S. Air Force, Olympic bobsled team vying for a position next year in the Olympics. So all around a world-class athlete, and in the real world, and boy, did he show it here in the virtual world. So Chris Walsh is our overall champion this year. After scoring 350 points, he just completely dominated the season this year. We were thankful to have him on board. We were thankful for the time he took to, during the week and in between races to kind of help some of the younger people or younger racers here and less experience in the iRacing League, just to kind of help them find their way, become a little bit faster on track. And I think the mentorship and the advice he gave, a lot of people heeded. And because we saw the maturity throughout the series, from race 1 to race 8 here is just tremendous difference. If you went back and watched that first race, so Chris, congratulations, and I'll turn it over to you if you got anything you want to say.
Yeah, not much to say. I mean, I just thanks for what you've done, Jason, putting this on, and to Pit Stop TV and Mobile One, RECARO, all the USO, all the sponsors that have made this a possibility. So I just think it's awesome on what this is all about, and the racing is great, and all the the stuff that comes with winning is fun. But more importantly, like what we're doing here and what Operation Motorsport is trying to do for the veteran community is huge and critical, and really needed at this time. So I'm just happy to be a part of that aspect of it. The fact I get to race too is just icing on the cake of everything. So I appreciate everything.
Absolutely, Chris, and again, we were glad to have you, and yeah, great. Congratulations again on your overall championship and the tremendous performance you put on this year. Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna kick it down here to our open class first, we're going to start with Dustin Burkhalter. We're going to pull up. It doesn't look like we have Rick Haslett with us, unfortunately, and then Brian Burkhart here, finishing in third place overall. So Dustin, again, congratulations on taking first place here in the open class. You scored 275 points total. Again, you were just a tremendous competitor throughout the season. There were times where you were giving Chris Walsh a run for his money. You were always at the top of the pack. So congratulations on taking the open class. I'm going to turn it over to you if you have anything you'd like to say.
Thank you, and again, thank RECARO, Mobile One, USO, Operation Motorsports for putting this on. It's really been fun. That's all I got.
Dustin, it's okay. You've been up in this booth probably more often than you ever wanted to be, and I know it makes you a little uncomfortable, but again, you were a great competitor, and I hope we see you in the future leagues that we'll be having. Unfortunately, Rick Haslett is not with us here on Discord, but he did take second place with 189 points, and then Brian Burkhart, it was honestly, Brian, to see you in third place is awesome to see. I mean, you came in tonight, I think in fourth or fifth position, but boy, did you jump the ladder tonight to take third place total with 167 points in that Go Navy MX-5 Global Cup car. Again, congratulations on securing third place. And is there anything you'd like to say?
I just want to say thanks, Jason, for everything that you've done. It's such a great league and it's so much fun that I just it's the thing that I look forward to the most every week. I really thank all the sponsors and Operation Motorsport for putting this on and giving us some cool prizes at times, and just giving us a really fun place to race with some great guys. Even sitting in the room, Dustin was giving me tips, so it's just a great group of guys, and can't thank you enough for getting me involved, and love to support the Navy for my son and all of his shipmates.
No, I appreciate it, and I think I heard you mention earlier before we went racing tonight. You were telling some of the other drivers, if I overheard it correctly, that your son's out afloat right now, out on a cruise, a Navy cruise. For those out there listening, it's not a Carnival cruise by any stretch of the imagination, but he's out there serving our country, underway on his first ship tour, and if I remember right, I think I heard you say that him and some of his shipmates were going to be tuning in tonight on YouTube.
Yeah, that was fun. They actually got back a couple days early, so they are back on land until their full deployment here in the winter. But yeah, him and a bunch of his shipmates all logged in and watched us tonight. So it was really cool to have some extra eyes.
That's awesome to see, and we welcome them if they're still out there watching and listening. You guys always have an open invitation to come join us when you have time in between your Navy duties to join us in a league. So, Brian, again, congratulations on third place, and we hope to see you at the next league.
Awesome, thanks again, Jason. I can't wait for the next one to start.
Go Army, sink Navy.
Okay, so really quick, we're going to go ahead and jump down to our beneficiary class. Let me see who we got here. So we got Theo. I don't see Adam up online. And then we've got, okay, there's Hunter Reeve. So again, we're going to end with our beneficiary class. And I'm doing that because, Operation Motorsport exists to engage medically retiring and wounded service members through whatever challenges they may have experienced as a result of their service. So I wanted to start with, why Operation Motorsport exists, and it's for our beneficiaries and those who partake in our programs. For us out there, or for those out there listening who may not know, iRacing for us was a new venture under the pandemic situation that we find, because we weren't getting to the racetrack in the physical world, so we had to find virtual or creative means in order to still continue to engage those who partake in our programs and try to give them something to do to help them in whatever capacity it may be. So that's why I'm saving the beneficiary class here for last. So Hunter Reeve, 217 points overall. Congratulations on taking first place. You put on a tremendous show throughout the year. I'm glad you came and joined us and were part of the program. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, just thank you for running this championship. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you to all the competitors. And thanks to Pit Stop TV. I've tried to catch the broadcast at the tail end, and I always think they do a phenomenal job. So all around, just an awesome experience.
Awesome. Hey, Hunter, again, thank you and congratulations on first place. Adam Poppenhouse takes second place with 200 points. And then Theo, I met you a little over a year ago and, hit it off with you right away. You impressed me really quick as a race engineer on our real world Global Cup MX5 race team that we took to Anglesey last year for the Real Race of Remembrance. And I've just been impressed with what you've done here in the iRacing League. You definitely had some struggles and some challenges at various races, but you overcame and you continued to drive forward and you finish here in third place up here on the podium overall in the championship. So congratulations for that, Theo. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, just thank you so much, Jason, for putting this whole thing on, and all the other Operation Motorsport people who put in the work to make this happen, and to all the sponsors who let this happen, because this has been a really good diversion for me. Like I did some racing this year, but not nearly as much as I normally do. So this has helped to definitely fill that void. And yeah, it's been a really good season.
Okay, awesome. So again, Theo, thank you very much, and congratulations there on third place.
Thank you.
And before I hand it back on over to Andrew and the rest of the Pit Stop TV crew, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank RECARO, Redcom, Mobile One, Race Recognition. They're a trophy supplier, so we're gonna get those trophies drop shipped out to our winners here in the very near future, hopefully this week. And the tremendous everybody that was involved in the league. You guys put on one heck of a show for us, and the professionalism and maturity that because I unfortunately have seen some of the other iRacing leagues that are out there, and my concern as the race director was that people weren't going to take this serious, and it would just be kind of not entertaining to watch, not exciting to watch, or it would turn into a demolition derby. And boy, my fears were proven. I shouldn't have ever had those fears, because everybody involved put on a tremendous show. And again, Andrew, Emerson, JP, Trey, you guys, everybody else here at Pit Stop TV that came into the broadcast booth throughout the year, I can't thank you guys enough, because the drivers put on a great show and made me look good as a race director, and you guys just put the icing on the cake, putting a professional broadcast out there for those watching.
Thank you, Jason. And it was definitely an amazing time. When we give out these compliments to you, Jason, to Diesel and Stephanie Lauder, to RECARO, Redcom, Mobile One, everybody else involved with Operation Motorsport, it's not just trying to make you guys happy. It comes from the bottoms of our hearts. This has been an amazing process to be a part of, an amazing league to be a part of. It's truly one of the best partnerships that I think we've had, and it definitely came together quite nicely, and to see the way that it evolved over the course of 8 races throughout the season, and to know that there's still a whole lot to go. We have the 6th hour coming up, the iRace of Remembrance at Sebring, and who knows where the world might take us from there. Definitely a lot of exciting things coming up, I'm sure. It's definitely been a privilege, as always, to share this this virtual commentary booth with Emerson Arden, JP Cost. I know we had Noah Carmichael on a show. We had, for some reason, Eric Brennan. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name there for a second. Eric is extremely professional, and I'm glad that we had him fill in there for a race or two. It's been an amazing time, and I can't thank you guys enough, Operation Motorsport, Jason Leach, Tiffany Lauder, Diesel Lauder, for bringing us on, RECARO, Mobile One, Redcom, and everybody else for supporting this series and making sure that we could do this for you guys. It's certainly been an amazing time.
Well, great. Again, I thank you very much. And before I exit the booth here again, just for those out there, we have the iRace for Remembrance coming up here on November 8th. Still have plenty of team positions open, minimum of 2 drivers, maximum of 3. Come join us for this very unique 6-hour event, that coincides with, kind of our Veterans Day here in the U.S., Remembrance Day and other places, as we try to honor our service members that came before us, and and whatnot. We will not be in the MX-5. If for those of you that might have any concerns, we'll be running the BMW M4 GT4 or the Porsche Cayman GT4. So you have a choice there. So again, if you want to get together, if you want to come out and join us, go to operationmotorsport.com. Find us on Facebook. You can also find us on LinkedIn, and all the information's out there. So again, Andrew, everybody else, thank you much for having us, and already looking forward to what the Winter League is going to bring in that Pit Stop TV Operation Motorsport partnership.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Jason. And like he just said, if you're a driver out there on iRacing looking to bring your team or join a team for the iRace of Remembrance, register today. You can go to operationmotorsport.org and find all the information Operation Motorsport has to provide there, be it their real happenings or the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League, the iRace of Remembrance, everything. Again, operationmotorsport.org. And what's that donation link as well, Jason?
I'm sorry, Andrew, can you say that again, please?
The donation link that these guys can go to and donate.
So if you go right to the Operation Motorsport main page, operationmotorsport.com, you'll find it right there. There's two. There's a U.S. side and there's a Canadian side. So depending on which side you're the border on, you can just click that link and it'll take you to PayPal, and you can donate from there. Also, we also have an eBay page where we throw up some very unique sports car racing memorabilia. Just throwing a little bit of a teaser out there. Through a partnership with Mobile One, we expect a drop of oil award, and what Mobile One and us have been kind of talking about is potentially the prototype. So this is going to be one of one that will not be available anywhere else. So go to our eBay, find us on eBay, and everything there goes directly to the programs to support our beneficiaries and make things not only like iRacing, but also opportunities in the paddocks across the sports car racing world to where we can activate and help people on that side.
There are so many reasons to, at the very least, check out Operation Motorsport on social media and at their website. Again, operationmotorsport.org. We appreciate everything they've done with us, done for us, and hopefully will come of this partnership here with Operation Motorsport. That will conclude our coverage tonight of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League presented by RECARO and the season. We at Pit Stop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Be sure to join us tomorrow evening as we bring you the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race from Bristol Motor Speedway, and again on Saturday evening when the USRA American Le Mans Series takes to the streets of Detroit Belle Isle for what should be a spooktastic Halloween event. That will be a very fun one. I'm sorry to use the word spooktastic, but it just kind of works. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pitstoptv, on Twitter at pitstoptv_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1. You can also watch these Operation Motorsport broadcasts on the Operation Motorsport YouTube channel. I'll actually pull up the exact link. Well, never mind. That's still not a unique link. But you can go to Operation Motorsport. I strongly suggest doing so. You can see everything that they do in the real world and see some interviews there from this year, years prior, and everything else. Some great content over there on their YouTube channel. Strongly suggest subscribing, turning on notifications as well. For all of us at Pit Stop TV, JP Costa and Emerson Arden with me on the call tonight, Trey Shuttlesworth with social media coverage. I am Andrew Cardinale IV, and we will see you next time.
WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Fantastic racing.
There's a tussle out there today.
Dusty and slippery. It's the corkscrew, man.
Dropping down, it's like a mine shaft.
Laguna Seca is a classic.
One of the greatest spectacles in motorsport.